For us that have been in the Gulf, we've gone through a lot.
She was abused, harassed in 12 countries. What is her offense? Working as a domestic worker. Meet Sophie, a Kenyan migrant domestic worker returnee from her sojourn in the Gulf. Sophie now resides in Nairobi, Kenya, campaigning for migrant workers' returnees' welfare. Wait for that in our Let's Talk segment. I am your host, Abulu Osemwahu. Africa's #1 labor program on TV, the tripartite, the Worker, Employer, and Government Roundtable. Also in our Let's Talk segment, now, how do you avoid fake recruitment agencies, especially when you are planning to migrate to other countries? Stay with us on that. We still have our feedback coming. Thank you so much for all the messages we have been receiving. We would not be able, however, to read all your messages here. Let's continue the conversation on our social media platforms. Now let's get global update on labor stories shaping the world of work from America to Brazil, Peru to India. Take it away, Francis Okoliko.
Let's begin with this rather bizarre story of how retired police officers protested in Nigeria's capital of Abuja over poor welfare packages. Now, some retired police officers protested at the National Assembly on Monday, July 21st, demanding their removal from the contributory pension scheme, which is the CPS. The demonstrators, mostly elderly, stood in the rain, holding placards and chanting anti-government songs. Over the past few years, retired police officers have been demanding full exemption from the contributory pension scheme. Under the CPS, the employee and employer make monthly contributions towards the employee's pension at retirement. The tripartite gathers that the scheme does not apply to members of the armed forces, the intelligence, or the secret services. The tripartite gathered that on Sunday, July 20th, the Police Service Commission asked the retired police officers to shelve the nationwide protest, but that must have fallen on hungry, angry, and deaf ears. Not only retired police officers are demanding better welfare in Nigeria. Civil servants are also asking for payment of 4 months' 35,000 naira wage award. They are asking the Nigerian federal government to explain reasons for the delay in the payment of the wage award, recalling that on April 28, the government announced that it would pay the outstanding 5 months' 35,000 naira wage award arrears to workers. The message came from the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation in a statement issued by Bawa Mokwa, who is the Director of Press and Public Relations. Now let's get to the UK, where the Prime Minister Keir Starmer tells the UK Parliament on Monday, July 21st, that the government is raising minimum wage, expanding free school meals and breakfast clubs to improve the welfare of the British citizens.
A thriving economy. It's a thriving economy in every part of the country and not just in some parts of the country. And it's why we've already in the spending review focused on things like the living wage, the national wage, and the minimum wage, and ensuring that wages are going up. They've gone up more in the last 10 months. They went up in the last 10 years. So that's the first part. The second part then is the poverty strategy that has to ensure that this is across the whole of society and every location, because in addition, as you all know, to the growth figures, we've had inequality variances across the country, place by place, and we have to have a laser focus on that, because whilst we want more wealth creation and the economy to thrive, and we do and we will, we can't have that as London and the South East and redistribution as a sort of one-word answer for the rest of the country. To my mind, that is fundamentally wrong.
Mr. Ben.
The challenge that we've got, though, is that the Bank of England now forecasts.
Now, nurses at the University Medical Center, New Orleans, represented by the National Nurses Organizing Committee, of the National Nurses United were on strike for 2 days on July 15th and 16th. The nurses are outraged that their hospital management has engaged in a troubling pattern of coming after experienced nurses advocating for their patients and co-workers. One senior nurse, Dorothy Stencil, said patient safety is always nurses' top concern. She said, in quote, "We are striking because disciplining experienced nurses like these has removed good nurses from the bedside," end of quote. National Nurses United, NNU, is the largest and fastest growing union and professional association of registered nurses in the United States, with more than 225,000 members across America. The Public Service International (PSI) is demanding workers' involvement in reconstruction of Palestinian healthcare system. PSI is working with the People's Health Movement on proposals for a comprehensive primary healthcare program for Palestine that ensures workers and unions in the health sector are involved in shaping, implementing, and governing. A program that would develop an effective humanitarian aid policy with coordinated health actions based on comprehensive primary health care in Gaza and the West Bank. Coordinate medical missions with local health unions and organizations. Support an international conference on Palestinians' health system reconstruction involving trade unions, civil society, and public health experts. Uphold international law protecting health workers in conflict zones and demand Israel respect the Geneva Convention to safeguard health workers. 10 labor federations in India issued a joint statement on July 9, 2025, after a successful strike against new labor laws the government is seeking to impose. Excerpt from a joint statement says, "Congratulations to workers, farmers, agric workers, and the people at large for the grand success of the nationwide general strike on July 9, 2025. It says more than 250 million people participated in the strike all over the country in the formal and informal sectors, in government, public sector enterprises, and industrial areas. Those who participated in the strike. The statement did not forget to mention that the students, youth, women, and social activists also participated in procession. The tripartite gathered that the protesting workers expressed their anguish against the anti-national policies of the government to favor Indian and foreign corporations and international finance capital against public sector undertakings, companies with a majority owned by state, public services, as well as against the small trade and businesses. The tripartite also gathered from the workers that the government of India, through its policy of national monetization pipeline, has put on sale the infrastructure, the national resources, and national assets, which will jeopardize the self-reliant development of the country. And that is your global updates on labor stories shaping the world of work. I am Francis. Back to you, Abulu.
This International Labour Organization and the International Trade Union Confederation, among others.
My name is Mohammed Megaldi Gadi, the Minister of Labour and Employment. You are watching the tripartite program on AIT.
Now, have you ever tried to use a recruitment agency to get a job in Nigeria or any other countries around the world? Well, if you have or are planning to, join us in our interview session now for more information. I have two guests with me, this very short interview. On my far left is Jide Afolabi. He's the Executive Secretary of Employers Association for Private Employment Agencies, right? And here with me is Ali Goma. Rian is the founder of African Unite in Qatar and Ugandans in Qatar Association. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Yes, you were attending a training on fair recruitment and the role of trade unions. And the two of you have one or two things to do with recruitment, whether migrant labor especially. That's our focus. Let me start with Ali Goma.
I think over the past years, we have seen a number of Africans migrating to Qatar in seek of better opportunities. And amongst those, we have seen different Africans in different trades coming to Qatar. And over the past years, I would say there has been a lot of labor regulations. A lot of reforms have been coming up over the past years. And like you all know, one of the highlights that put Qatar on map was World Cup, amongst others, but World Cup in particular saw a number of different reforms working hand in hand with the development of World Cup and engagement of different labor force from different parts of the world. So far, I would say the number keep on increasing from the African continent. And yeah.
Jude, most of these migrant workers or this recruitment are done by private sector or private recruitment agencies.
That's correct.
So we understand there's a lot of unfair recruitment in the process. As an association, what have you been doing in this regard?
Thank you very much. As an association, the private employment agencies for private employment agents in Nigeria, we have engaged in various activities, including advocacies, including awareness, raising awareness, informing the member of the public not to patronize unlicensed private employment agents because they are quacks. They are the ones giving the industry bad names. Because if you are a licensed recruiter, you are responsible to the license you hold. You are, of course, if you engage in any shady deal, the license can be revoked, the license can be suspended. Of course, if it has to do with criminal activities, you can also be tried in the court. And of course, you know, the ecosystem involves a whole lot of stakeholders. It's not just the private employment agencies alone. We have the NAPTIP that has to do with human trafficking in persons. So if the issue has to do with trafficking, the NAPTIP will come in. If it has to do with other criminal activities, of course, you see the security agencies coming in. And if it are just little infractions, then the Federal Ministry of Labour and Employment, will come in. But for us, we ensure that we organize workshops, conferences, seminars for private employment agents to continually ensure that they engage within the ambit of the law and the various conventions of the ILO and labor standards.
This breakdown that Jide has given, do you see such activities happening with the government or the groups, the recruiters in those areas to give African migrants fair treatment in the process of recruitment?
Right now, Africa is one of the biggest continent that has young generation, whereby these young people, one, they are educated, two, they are strong and they are ready to work, meaning that they're gonna keep on moving to different places for greener pastures. So these countries, they're gonna have to prepare, put up mechanisms that are gonna take care of these people in their own benefit. Because like we remember yesterday, we talked about productivity. When it comes that if you want to achieve more in your business, you're going to have to make sure that you treat right your workers.
Jide, quickly, he talked about Africa young population. Is this what unscrupulous recruiters take advantage of?
Absolutely. You know, we have a lot of people that want to move, especially the young ones. And because most of them are desperate, most of them doesn't have the knowledge, the right information. As a result, they fall into the hands of these fake recruiters. You hardly see a licensed recruiter engaging in shady deals because they know what it will cost them. One, if you engage in fair recruitment, it improves your branding. I mean, automatically, people working for you will be your brand ambassadors.
Definitely.
Two, it improves production. The productivity will improve as a result of engagement in fair recruitment. And also, it's not just the country of origin, even the country of destination, because they know that your company operates within the ambit of the law, within international labor standards, and are also not extorting the prospective
workers.
migrants, the workers. So if they know that, definitely they will engage you more. As a result, you get, of course, the business improves.
Yeah.
But
Yes. Okay. Yeah. One major challenge that most conversation have discussed is the issue of inadequate labor inspectors in destination countries and even in country of origin to give proper guidance, to give proper pre-departure orientation, to give proper information about destination countries. Like in Nigeria, this Japa issue, people just want to Japa, and the labor inspectors take advantage of the desperation
And the
among the
system.
young people. So, talking to government and Goma and Jide, what do you think can be done to ensure that these challenges are checked?
And from my perspective, mainly I'll focus now, you talk about the sending country and the destination country,
Yeah.
right? And in this element, mainly I'll focus on Africa in particular. You find that we are still lacking on how to organize our people before they leave for greener pastures, which I think it should be taken serious, because our government are still not taking it serious. They only focus on the money that these people are sending back home, but they're not focusing on preparing them to go. So to me, it is very, very serious. I think some countries like Philippines, I think you can tap into their system and see how effective it is when it comes to sending their people abroad. They have systems in play, and those systems prepare them even before they leave. So the moment they go abroad, they know exactly what they need to do. And if things goes wrong, still, because you never know, we are people regardless of where we are people. Sometimes things go wrong. Sometimes people make mistakes here and there. But because there is a system of teaching these fellows that once ABCD happens, this should be the approach of addressing the matter. So pre-departure is very, very important. And also African government should take migration as a very serious matter to handle, not just as a migration kind of thing.
Jide?
well, for us in Nigeria, we observe that we have, of course, done fairly well in terms of preparing our people who are migrating. I was in Dakar in April, courtesy of IOM, and we had um, participants from other countries. When we compared notes, we observed that Nigeria is fairly doing well than most countries. If you look at us in Nigeria, we have the MRC, Migrant Resource Center. We have NELEX, National Electronic Labor Exchange Platform. All these platforms, in fact, we also have job centers. So all these platforms, the NELEX, the MRCs, the job centers, provides information for prospective migrants. That is one. Then two, the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment, they have a department that handles, they call it inspectorate department. So that department handles issue of inspection. But then the largest room in this world is room for improvement. And that is exactly what we do. We collaborate with various stakeholders within the tripartite to ensure that we continue to build the capacity of labor inspectors to be more effective, to be more efficient. And also, before you can depart, that's why I emphasized on licensed private employment agencies. Because before you can leave Nigeria, the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment will have looked at your contract of employment. They will have vetted it. They will have, if there are issues with it, they will address it. They will address it. And also, we ensure that, in fact, it's a must. You must organize a departure orientation seminar for whoever is leaving Nigeria as a migrant. And it's not only Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment that is involved. Other stakeholders, like the NAPTIP, the DSS. So we have a whole lot of them who are also involved in that process.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
And the program continues after this break.
Thank you.
The tripartite. It's new, it's fresh, it's informative, it's educational, and it is authentic. The tripartite holds onto the workers, the employers, the government, and the international development partners on a round table to critically dissect issues concerning employment, productivity, welfare, safety, and health. A people united can never be defeated. Join us on the tripartite, the worker, employer, and government roundtable.
For us that have been in the Gulf, we've gone through a lot.
Sophie is as bold as ever to talk about the abuses she faced, and she's proud of her campaign in Nairobi, Kenya, on the welfare of migrant workers returnees. Let's hear her.
Domestic work is real, and for sure domestic work is real work, because if I wasn't a domestic worker, I don't think my daughter will now be done college.
Where's the daughter?
She's done college. My son is done high school, and the other one is still.
And they're all in Kenya?
They're all in Kenya.
So you will not advocate for them to go abroad?
I wouldn't much. I also want to...
But not to go as domestic workers?
They can go as domestic workers, because it depends. If the government or the African, let me say African Union, because it is the one that is uniting the other countries. Then comes now the sub that we have now, the trade unions, and they are being supported to work on the better migration. I wouldn't tell anyone, because in domestic work we have many fields. We have people that are drivers. We have health care assistants that are working in homes. And these are people who have to go through training. These are people who can offer a lot, even not only in our homes. Even if this person is on the way and finds someone in need of a first aid or any other aid that is in that field, this is someone who is qualified. So I can't say that I will not tell my kids to work as domestic workers or any other future generation to come. We just want to know that domestic work is real work, and it's just work like any other. This is a
and those, they should be respected.
They should, in fact, imagine imagine you leave me with all your assets.
Yes.
All your assets. You are trusting me with everything that
children,
you...
the house,
imagine,
the kitchen.
like everything, your money, the safe house, the safe...
But there are issues of sexual abuse.
Yes, and that is where now we are, like, I will tell you the truth. And especially for us that have been in the Gulf, we've gone through a lot. There is so much of sexual abuse.
What can I say? We promise to keep bringing you more interesting stories like these. Don't forget to reach us for partnership, sponsorship, or support of any segment of this program. In our feedback segment, we appreciate your messages so far. For our waste and environmental casual workers who have sent us complaints from Plateau and Kogi State in north-central Nigeria, we wish to let you know that we are yet to receive any response from the state government. At the tripartite, the workers' lives matter, the employers' business matter, government policies matter, informal workers' lives matter, pensioners' lives matter, and you out there, viewer, you matter to us. Let's do this again next time. I am Abulu Osemahu. Thanks